we have this process called stacking GPTs. So when you have separate GPTs, you can actually use the at symbol and then type the name of the GPT and it will bring it into your current chat. So you can start with one, like let's say you're in the GPT that is your brand voice. Then you do the at symbol and you type ideal client. It will give you your full ideal client avatar. Then you do the at symbol and you type, we call this your tree of beliefs. And this is all of the buying beliefs they need to have in order to buy from you or to want to buy from you. You can type that at symbol and then say, please use the avatar above and create a tree of beliefs to get them to buy Agora Pulse or whatever it is, right? Then it'll give you all those beliefs. And then after all those beliefs, you say at super prompt. And then you say, now, please run the super prompt based on those beliefs. Instantly, it's going to run the super prompt and write 3 months of content.
Welcome to AI and Marketing Unpacked, where we simplify AI for impactful marketing. I'm your host, Mike Allton, here to guide you through the world of artificial intelligence and its transformative impact on marketing strategies. Each episode will break down AI concepts into manageable insights and explore practical applications that can supercharge your marketing efforts. Whether you're an experienced marketer or just starting to explore the potential of AI, this podcast will equip you with the knowledge and tools you need to succeed. So tune in and let's unlock the power of AI together. Greetings, program. Welcome back to AI and Marketing Unpacked, where I selfishly use this time to pick the brains of experts at keeping up with or integrating or layering artificial intelligence into social media, content, advertising, search, and other areas of digital marketing. Oh, and you get to learn too. Subscribe to be shown how to prepare yourself and your brand for this AI revolution and come out ahead. Are you looking for ways to streamline your content creation process and achieve remarkable results with less effort? Sounds magical, doesn't it? But with the rise of AI technology, marketers now have powerful tools to revolutionize their content strategies, making them more efficient and impactful. But how do you integrate AI effectively and what real world successes can you learn from? Today, we're joined by Molly Mahoney, the CEO of the AI Content Club and a renowned expert in leveraging AI for content creation. Molly's going to share insights on how AI is transforming content creation workflows and highlight success stories from clients who have seen significant improvements in their marketing efforts through AI driven strategies. Hey, Molly, welcome to the show.
So glad to be here with you.
I am so excited. We've known each other for a while. We've seen each other at events, but this is the first time interviewing you. So I'm super pumped despite all my shows. Never had you on one of my shows before. So
So
excited about
wild.
that.
Now I'm really nervous. I'm like, how did I not
Oh,
remember
good.
that?
Excellent. I can check that off. I made Molly Mahoney nervous. Fantastic. Could you start though by telling us about your background? I know all about you, but those of us listening may not know who Molly Mahoney is, what you've been doing, and how you became interested in AI for content creation.
Yeah. So I actually started way back in the day as a musical theater performer. So I worked in New York, I worked in Las Vegas, I did cruise ships as a singer and a dancer. And while I was on tour with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, as you do, and the flying car and all of that, my
As
husband and
one
I
does.
just so normal. We decided to leave our careers in New York. He was a bass player and move out to California to be back closer to my family. And we launched this really amazing thing called Children. And we had 2 kiddos. And while I was teaching singing lessons and all of that, I really fell in love with marketing my own vocal coaching business. And it turned into this magical thing. So in 2016, I stopped teaching singing lessons altogether and moved into rather than helping performers how to have a business, I started teaching business owners how to perform. And that's when we started focusing on video creation. That moved into content creation. That moved into automation with messenger bots and all of that. And now we really focus on sales and AI. So we've woven AI into everything that we're doing. We launched an AI program called the Content Club, like you mentioned back in 2021. So before ChatGPT was even on the scene, we launched this program and it's been so fun, like combining the digital crazy things like AI with the real thing that we started with, which is who the heck are you as a human being and how can we deepen those relationships? It's cool.
I love it. And of course, I've known you as the prepared performer for years and years and years. You're showing that. And so I wanted to drop this little show note in for those of you listening. If you're on Apple or one of the other channels, it's interesting because I host with Spotify-owned Megaphone, and I publish as a video podcast, and yet Spotify's Megaphone only distributes the video to Spotify. So if you're listening on Apple or even YouTube, strangely enough, you might actually just want to pop over to Spotify for this one because Molly is a presence. And it is so cool to watch her perform. She really is the prepared performer. And one other quick note I'll give you all listening. If you want help being just present on camera and engaging to your audience, that is what Molly does with the prepared performer business, which you're still running, you're still helping people with, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's really
Oh
and
yeah.
thank you so much, by the way. Yes, thank you. That's really woven into everything that we're doing. So I still do like private speaker consulting and things like that, but really we've realized that the showing up as a human being isn't its own separate entity. It's actually important for everything that we're doing. So that prepared performer piece is really how do we show up with confidence? We have a new book called Choose Confidence that's coming out later this month. And it all starts with who you are as a human before you do anything else. And it's pretty awesome. It's really fun.
Love it, love it. So let's talk about AI. Let's talk about how you're using AI with content. What are some of the advantages of using artificial intelligence with content creation?
Yeah, man, I was actually at the Gen AI conference 2 years ago, and they showed this amazing chart, which spoke about the different pillars of what it takes for content creation, from ideation to research to the actual creation of the content to the editing of the content afterwards. And what they had talked about before was that the time that it takes to actually create content was so huge that you really couldn't spend much time on the ideation or on the research piece or on the editing. And now that's switched that we can it still blows my mind how quickly we can actually create the content, but we're able to put even more time into the things that really matter, like the dreaming of possibility and the coming up with the things that are very human focused. And on the editing side, really to make it like deeply connect with our ideal client. But we get to streamline that system around the actual creation piece. It's wild, it's bananas. So it saves us so much time in the brainstorming, so much time in the actual following of a framework, which we have all of these frameworks that we've used for years, but now we've put them into these AI systems that it just organizes things so beautifully. It speeds up the process. And even if it gives you content that is actually pretty junky, it gives you a springboard to something that you love, because even when it gives you something that you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's horrible," it helps you know what you would want instead. So, it's totally magical.
Love it. And that's a great point. We've actually talked about in some of the previous episodes how to make sure the AI doesn't give you stuff that's junky. If you just spend a little bit of time up front telling the AI who you are, who you're talking to, giving it that information, that context, like you would an intern who's sitting next to you, who's new to the business, let them know who you are, what you do. It can give you some pretty amazing stuff. So I'd love if you could give us an example of how AI has maybe significantly streamlined content creation for one of your clients.
Yeah, I mean, so we're using it for lots of our clients. Here's an example is that we had several people who are looking to create short form videos, right? One of our clients took everything that they followed the assignment, which is awesome, and they we ask all of our clients to create what we call a quesadilla of awesome. So this quesadilla of awesome is where you write down the 20 things that make you a uniquely amazing human being. So he wrote down his quesadilla of awesome, all the things about his skill sets, about his appearance, about his activities, his values, what he likes to eat, all that kind of human stuff, put that into a document. Then he took loads of stories from his life. So either things that he had written in a book that he had previously written or things that he's written in social media posts, and he put all of those into a document as well. We then created a custom GPT. It was based on this client. From there, we were able to take that custom GPT and put it with our video framework, and it will bring in personal stories from his actual life that I never would have known, but now we can create
Mm.
these video scripts based on his life. It's amazing.
That is fantastic. I'll put a couple links in the show notes about custom GPT. So if we kind of lost you there, don't worry. There'll be some more resources, but these are amazing. Oh, wait a minute, but I got to go back to the quesadilla of awesomeness.
The quesadilla of
What? What's the
awesome Yes.
Why
It
quesadilla?
okay. Everyone has something that makes them uniquely awesome, even if it's just that you make an amazing quesadilla. And so your
Okay.
quesadilla may have I actually had a really funny use case that happened the other night at dinner. I was out with some friends and it said, wait for it, it said Chipotle chicken quesadilla, and then right underneath it, it said goat cheese and pepper jelly. And I was like, wow, I wouldn't usually think to put Chipotle and pepper jelly with goat cheese. Like, that's really interesting. But both of my friends that I was with said that they had had this quesadilla and they loved it. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. Then my friend was like, well, if you're both ordering the quesadilla, I'm going to order the goat cheese and pepper jelly. And I was like, okay, you're ordering like a deconstructed quesadilla? I didn't understand. The quesadilla came. I was eating it and it was like cheddar, maybe like spicy jack and chicken, but there was no goat cheese and there was no pepper jelly, and I was, like, really fascinated by this quesadilla. By the end, I asked the waiter, I said, "I thought that this quesadilla had goat cheese and pepper jelly in it," and it turns out that was just the next item on the menu. It wasn't the ingredients for the quesadilla, but it proves my point that a quesadilla can really have anything in it, and so can you. Like, you are a weird, unique blend of your own awesome, and if you don't figure out who that is before you start using these AI tools, it will give you junk that you don't really know how to customize or how to fix because the thing that's actually missing is your weird, and your weird is your superpower.
Love it. Listen to that, folks. Your weird is your superpower. No, no, I love that you're building custom GPTs because that's to me is building in a lot of consistency in there. But talk to us about that. What
Yeah.
are some of the ways? I don't know if that's the only way, or what are some other ways that AI actually helps us be consistent, add quality into our content creation. Some of these things that people might struggle with if they're struggling to create even one piece of content.
Well, and it really helps with quality control through your team as well. So, if you have used ChatGPT, whether you have a paid version or a free version, you may have noticed on the left-hand side, there's a little thing that says Explore GPTs. And when you click on that, there are searchable, they're basically like AI templates within the platform. And the fact that they're available to everyone, even free users now, is a huge benefit to those of you who may be considering creating your own GPTs. And what you can do is you can search there. Like, we even created one that's a French tutor for my kids. My kids go to a French school. I don't speak French, neither does my husband. So my husband was like, "Can you make one that just helps them with French?" Totally possible. So there's a lot of tools out there that have now created their own that connect with their tools. We've created several that if you search my name, Molly Mahoney, you'll be able to find loads of these pre-created templates. Like, there's one where you can just get social media strategies from me. There's one where it'll give you a lead magnet idea, a different free gift that you can give to build your community or your list. But then you can also create versions that are only for the people that you share the link with or that are only for you. So we have 3 different levels of GPTs that we create, and the ones that are only shareable by a link, we actually sell in our programs. So there's all kinds of ways that you can use these tools. For my team, it's been amazing because we have a done for you agency as well. And in order to ensure that consistency across the board, we have one, for example, it's called the super prompt. And when I say run the super prompt, it will write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday content. It literally writes out an entire week of content and it does it for like 12 weeks at a time. So I can create 3 months of copy for one specific client all inside ChatGPT, and then I put that in a spreadsheet, I go in and edit it, zhuzh it, we add the graphics, and it's amazing.
Zhuzh it. That's the technical
That
term
is, and
for what
we had
happened.
to figure out how to spell that word because I use it so much, so zhuzh, look it up.
No, but that's great, and I love it. I've got 2 custom GPTs that I use for this podcast because as we were talking about in the green room, I actually have 6 podcasts. I have this show for myself, I have 5 for Agorapulse, and I was previously spending a couple of hours on each episode researching the guest, preparing the documentation, preparing the questions, doing all that prep work. I created a custom GPT where I pop in the guest's name and their LinkedIn and the information that they gave me in their onboarding form, and it creates the entire pre-show document for me. So it went from 2 hours to 20 minutes.
Okay,
It's
so this is
amazing.
so good, and I'm sure most people are wondering, how do you get it to actually get the information off of LinkedIn?
Well, there's where you have to have that paid version so that it can actually go to a website, but it'll look at, and their profiles are public, so it'll look at their, it'll confirm that, A, is this Molly Mahoney, the one that you're looking at? I'm like, "Yes, that is the one and only Molly Mahoney." And then, it pulls your experience and your about and your information, and it asks, "What are the topics that you'd like to talk about?" And part of my onboarding process is I ask guests, "What do you wanna talk about?" So I copy and paste that from the Excel form into ChatGPT, and it says, "Cool. Here's 5 interview topics that I think Molly and you would have a great conversation about." And I pick one. And then it gives me 10 suggested titles to choose from. And I pick one. And then it gives me 10 questions and an outline and the takeaways. And this is all stuff I told it step by step to do, right? Ask me this, then provide this information. So we've got all that on the blog, folks. I'll put a link below where you can learn more about custom GPTs and you can program them for yourselves. But I'm wondering, other than ChatGPT,
Yeah.
I know you've got some of your own technologies and services that you sell. You can certainly talk to that, but what else should a marketer be thinking about using or diving into, particularly if they're just kind of getting started? Maybe they've done what most of us did first, which is go to ChatGPT and ask us to write a blog post for us, and that doesn't work. It doesn't end well. Where should they actually be digging in and spending their time today?
Okay, I'll give you like my favorite tools. So when it comes to AI tools, there is one type of tool that is the most important tool for you to use. That one tool that nobody ever talks about is the tool that you actually use. Because if you are paying for 70 tools and you're not using them, they will not do you any good. So make sure that you're actually going to log in, use it, and then make sure whatever content it gives you or copy or videos or whatever, you pull it out and you actually do something with it first, most important piece.
That's important.
Really important. Okay, so there are a lot of tools that you can use for chat purposes. Like you could build your own using Zapier, which is actually so easy and so bananas. People used to pay like $25,000 to build out an AI chat tool of their own. Super crazy easy with something like Zapier. It is awesome. You can use like Claude is good for certain things, Magi is good for certain things. For the chat purpose, we really focus on ChatGPT in our programs because it's the most widely used and because you can create these custom GPTs. But I'm playing with Gemini and those things as well. So let's just move the chat thing to the side. I love Perplexity for when I'm going to be putting together some sort of presentation and I need to pull specific statistics. They've added these new projects where you can create, blog posts, things like that really well that have a citation to where it came from. A lot of people have been saying that because of this search feature that's coming to OpenAI, that Perplexity may be taking a kind of kick in the pants, but Perplexity is really awesome. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on. And for those of you, listening, we don't tend to talk a lot about news. I leave that to Paul Raitzer and Mike Kaput at the Marketing AI Institute. The
Yeah.
Artificial Intelligence Show is fantastic. You'll do a deep hour and a half dive every week with them on what's the latest and greatest with Perplexity and that sort of thing. But what Molly's talking about is at the time of this recording, OpenAI has come out with Search GPT. I think that's what they're calling it. That's
Yeah,
their
I
search
hesitate on
engine.
that because I think that is what it's called, Search
I
GPT.
think
Yeah.
that's what it is. I haven't had a lot of time this week to actually dive into it yet because it's literally brand new, folks. In fact, I don't even know if everybody has access to it,
No, there was a
but
wait
that's
list.
their search engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the wait list has started being released just this week, but so just if you're listening to this in the future, you may find that, "Oh, I can do all of that in Search GPT." So just wanted to give you that little caveat there. When
Yeah.
it comes to creating more, like, images and videos and things like that, one that I'm really loving is this Luma Labs, Luma AI. Have you used this much at all? The Dream.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh my gosh. The Dream Machine, it is so cool. And I'm just gonna give you a couple of examples. So we have a client that sells crystals and like metaphysical products. And she's doing an event in her studio where they're going to be building these little garden gnome kind of things. They're like little goddess gardens. They're hanging in these little beautiful glass teardrops, and then they have succulents and crystals in them. And we said, "Do you have any videos of this?" And she's like, "I don't have time to do a video of this. Here's a photo." Well, I took it and I put it into Luma AI. Is that the actual name? I've used it all the time, but let me check. Yeah, Luma AI. It's lumalabs.ai. I put it in there and I put it on the looping setting, which is a newer setting that they have. It takes the photo, and rather than morphing it into some weird thing like Kyber would do, I really like playing with Kyber, but this doesn't make it all weird and AIified in a bad way. It actually made it look like she had sent us a video of this thing, like super natural looking. It was so cool. And it did it in a loop, so it makes a great reel. It made a great reel that we can use then on her Instagram or TikTok, a TikTok video that's looping, and it's all created with one click with this AI tool. So cool. I also our my sweet puppy passed away recently, and I spent all of this time, which was very therapeutic, taking a photo of her, and then in Midjourney, I created an image of a dog with angel wings, like a black and white photo, and it
Oh,
was so cool. So it went from her, like, looking out the window, and then it morphed into this photo of this black and white dog with angel wings. Like, come on. It
oh
was
my
really cool.
gosh.
Yeah, it was awesome. There's loads of other like, we're using repurposing tools and other things. I don't know how deep you want me to go, but I can share more.
Yeah, give us one more.
Okay,
We love examples in this show.
amazing. Okay, so on the side of the repurposing with AI, there's a couple of things that there's so many tools that you can use for video repurposing. From Opus to Video to Submagic to every day there's like a new one. And you for me, it's really about figuring out which one matches the style and the ease of use for your brain. So in the beginning, I was trying all of them and I really felt like Video and Opus were kind of on the same page. But since then, recently, I have stopped using Video. We really are using Opus for quick videos that we can grab at one time. If we're going to make them more detailed and we're going to take more time with it, where it's taking a long video and chopping it up into shorter videos, we'll use Descript or CapCut when we want to get even more specific with it. And then there's a new one that I found recently, which I don't know if you've used, called Submagic. Have you used that one?
No, that's new to
Okay.
me.
My team isn't really even using it yet. I've been doing it myself, and I really love it because what it does at this point, it's not the best at actually editing the video. It kind of has an ability in the beginning to remove words that you don't want, kind of like Descript. But what I love about it is it gives you for each little video, like each scene, let's say, it's like, a sentence or even a few words. It gives you the option to add B-roll, an emoji, and a sound. So the sound is like a or
Mm.
a ding, ding, ding. It's really cool, and it gives you these, like, 10 different sounds that you can choose from, and I don't know if you want me to show you an example of what it looks like because I was so stoked about it. If that's something we can do on here, can I screen share here, or is that too crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
and while you're setting that up,
Mhm.
I'll just share, I'm using Descript to edit,
I love Descript.
all of these podcasts and all these videos, and I love it. It's a text edit for those who haven't used it. That means I'm looking at the transcript of Molly and I's conversation, and I'm picking and choosing which sections I'm going to cut or edit out. And if I want to pull out a section for a reel or a TikTok, I simply highlight that text and I add that to a new composition, it's called inside of Descript. But I don't have all these other bells and whistles within Descript, and I'm a one man show. This is a side gig for me, as you all know, and so I'm not bothering with other tools too often. But I'm really curious to see what you've got to show us.
Yeah, and I know that like, I love Descript, and I know that it can do things like this, but it's a little more time consuming to set up a template and different things like that. So, I'm gonna show you this one because 'cause I'm always looking for things that are just a little faster. Will it share this? It'll share the audio. I got it. Great. Okay, so, this is my family has a wood shop. Okay, so this you may not think like something this organic is going to be something that we would use AI for, but we sell beautiful slabs of wood, and my brother is like the face of this brand. So this is my brother, and I'm just going to show you this video, which I did 100% with Submagic. I just took the video, put it in there, and then all this stuff was added. Here, hold on. Whoops.
Heard that it's important to buy dry and seasoned wood for your projects. Well, we go to great lengths to ensure that your wood is dried and seasoned professionally. We don't want any difference in our lumber versus the lumber you're used to working with. So we want the only difference to be the zip code that it was growing in. But we've got this beautiful machine here. It's called a vacuum kiln. Normally, it takes an inch per year of thickness. So a 2-inch piece of wood takes 2 years to dry.
I'm going to pause just a second. Did you notice how on the word kiln, it actually had a little fire emoji that was not just an
Yeah.
emoji, it was like a flame that was moving? So
That's
that is
awesome. For those listening, if you're not looking at it on Spotify, it's a vertical video of her brother talking in the shop. He's explaining and showing off the stuff, which is just a fairly easy vertical video to shoot, probably on an iPhone.
yeah,
But
exactly.
it's automatically had added burned in color coded karaoke style captions right in the middle, including emojis. This is really awesome.
And animation. So, like, there was a little rocket ship that went up. I'm just gonna show the tab of what happens here because there's all of these different styles that you can choose, but then you can also customize your own theme, which is cool. And when you look at the captions on it, you can add this is where I was saying it has, like, the little emoji things here where you can add different emojis, you can add different transitions, you can add different sounds here too. So, like, when you click on the sound, it gives you things like this. Listen, the little click. All of these things that really help with the retention of the video. So
Yeah.
this one, which I haven't actually published yet,
In this room, we're harvested.
has same thing, my brother talking about trees, but it has actual B-roll that you can search within here to be able to put in really easily. And again, I know Descript has this as well, but I found that pulling it in here, the way that it breaks it up, if you're watching this on the video, you can see that each few words, like it has different options where you can add it to these little segments of the video. And then it'll add the B-roll on top of it. So if we skip ahead a little bit, you'll see that it actually brings in where can I find it? Anyway, there's B-roll in here too, which is pretty cool because it pulls from different just free like this. So there's like a pile of wood chips that are going behind the video, and it's so easy to do in here in just a few clicks. So I really like that one.
That is fascinating because you guys, I need you to understand if you're creating video for social media, and it's funny because don't look at my video because I don't do this. I don't know this kind of stuff. But the truth is, if your videos are one person talking head style videos, people will tune out. People will not pay attention to the entire length of your video, even if it's just 30 or 60 seconds. And that's a problem because most of us are saying what we want them to do at the end of our videos at that 30 or 60-second mark. If you can bring in a change of voice, change your scenery, some sound effects, some changes in the video, these are subtle cues to our brain to make us pay attention. We're like, wait a minute, what? I thought that was Mike talking. Who is this other person? Or wait a minute, I saw Mike in a studio, but now I'm seeing, grains of sand fall in front of the video. We may not say those things out loud. We may not even think of them consciously, but our brain is tricked into paying closer attention. That's why I'll often do extra videos and inserts and that sort of thing into longer videos just to bring in that extra voice, that change of pace for our psychology.
You know, actually, I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm so glad you mentioned that because what I try to do in my videos, and I think you are actually so good at this as well, and I'll give you a very clear example. I try to edit my videos with my own face. So, a lot of editors will do this kind of jump in, jump out thing where the video zooms in and it zooms back out and it really captures the attention. Well, part of being a prepared performer is recognizing that we want to vary our vocal tactics. We want to vary what we're doing visually. And so I will actually record my videos on when I do videos, for Instagram or TikTok or Reels or whatever. I'll lean in and I'll back up on purpose so that no one has to edit it. It's already built in. And when you were doing the intro for this, if you go back and listen to the intro at the beginning of this podcast, there was a moment when you said, "And guess what? Huh, you can too," or something like that. And
Yep.
when you went, I was like looking to the side or something, and it made me go, "Oh, did he stop?" Like I thought that you actually paused. It tricked me. And that's what we want. People start to
Yeah.
drift off. We want to bring them back so they're paying attention. And where people are talking about this concept of retention editing, maybe if you actually just made your video engaging enough to begin with, you wouldn't need to do as much on the editing side. How about that?
Right. That's amazing. Folks, we're talking with Molly Mahoney about the impact that she's seeing with AI on content marketing. And I've got several more questions for you that you're not going to want to miss. Before I get to those, let me share with you the AI tool that I'm using to help me with my content every single day. This episode of AI and Marketing Unpacked is brought to you by Magi, your gateway to making generative AI incredibly simple and accessible. Wondering how to seamlessly integrate AI into your marketing strategy without getting bogged down by complexities? That's exactly where Magi shines. It provides user friendly AI solutions that empower marketers just like you to innovate and elevate your campaigns without needing a degree in data science. Imagine having the power to generate creative content, insightful marketing data analysis, or even personalized customer communications, all at the touch of a button. Magi isn't just about providing tools, it's about transforming your approach to marketing with AI that's tailor made to be straightforward and effective. So, whether you're looking to boost your content creation process or want deeper insights into your marketing performance, Magi makes it all possible with a few clicks. No fuss, no hassle, just results. Ready to simplify your AI journey? Visit Magi today to learn how their solutions can revolutionize the way you engage with your audience. Don't just market smarter with Magi. Tap the link in the show notes. So, Molly, I
I
know you
mean,
work
if
with,
that's not a perfect example
isn't
of
that
what we were
awesome?
just
Right?
talking about.
That's exactly why I bake those mid-roll videos into every single podcast I do. Like I said, I have 6 different shows. So I've got a whole repertoire of different videos that I'm baking in. Usually it's testimonials. And this is why this video, because I had to make it myself. This is my own show, right? But at Agorapulse, we've got recorded testimonials of all kinds of folks, people influencers and so on. And I love using those because they're literally different voices in the middle of the talk. And that's exactly why. But I know you've worked with a lot of clients and brands. I'm wondering if you could talk about a success story where AI has maybe just like completely transformed how they're doing content. Because we've talked about some very specific use cases, editing key videos, that kind of stuff. What about the
Yeah.
entire content strategy?
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, so to be totally honest, our we have this process called stacking GPTs. So GPT stacking. And I'm not sure if you're doing this, but what is really bananas to me is that I I have been doing this for quite some time now, but apparently a lot of people don't even know this exists. And I'm always shocked that people don't know that you can do this. So when you have separate GPTs, you can actually use the at symbol and then type the name of the GPT and it will bring it into your current chat. So you can start with one, like let's say what we do in our basic system is we start with your brand voice. So you're in the GPT that is your brand voice. Then you do the at symbol and you type ideal client. It will give you your full ideal client avatar. Then you do the at symbol and you type, we call this your tree of beliefs. And this is all of the buying beliefs that someone needs to have in order to create their content, or the buying beliefs they need to have in order to buy from you or to want to buy from you. You can type that at symbol and then say, please use the avatar above and create a tree of beliefs to get them to buy Agora Pulse or whatever it is, right? Or Magi, let's
Right.
say, for this video. Then it'll give you all those beliefs. Shout out to Dustin. And then after all those beliefs, you say at super prompt. And then you say, now, please run the super prompt based on those beliefs. Instantly, it's going to run the super prompt and write 3 months of content. Now, where this happened, actually, just this morning, I was on a client call. We have all of those things baked in so that their content can become very easy to be able to create. One place where I was really stuck, and according to this client, they were really stuck here too, and we actually solved this for them this morning, is in pulling all of your content together and writing a newsletter. I know everyone thinks newsletters are like so cool, but they take so much time. Like so much time.
Yeah.
And we even had a service that we were paying for that I think they charged $1,000 a month to be able to do the research, find the topics that were right for you, write up the newsletter, and then email it out. It still took me so much time because I wanted to make sure that it was really in alignment for our community. So what I did is very similar to what Mike was explaining earlier. I built a step-by-step GPT that actually works as an assistant. And so we pick the topics that our clients will be using, and we have several different categories that we always cover. There's like a spot for like affiliates or partners so that you can always make sure you have a spot on your newsletter to promote your sponsors or your partners. There's a spot for upcoming events. There's a spot for, I call it fun and joy. This client today, they're an estate planner. Theirs was like family and friends, right? So we put all these different things in, and then it asks you, okay, what topic would you like to focus on for this week's newsletter? We put the topic in. Then it's like, please share some examples of family, friend stuff or fun and joy. And then literally you go to your social media, you look at what you've already posted, you copy two things: the description for the post, like the caption, and the link to the actual post. You plop those into ChatGPT with no fancy, editing or whatever, just like copy paste. Put those in there. What is also so bananas is that it will actually write the newsletter and it will hyperlink the social media posts within the newsletter. So all you have to do is copy, paste, zhuzh, send. And now that gives you an email. It can send you traffic to your blog. It can send you traffic to your social media posts. We get crazy open rates on these emails, like 50% open rates on our newsletters. And the click through rate is really high as well, because even though a lot of email professionals will say, don't put too many calls to action in your emails, I think that is kind of not the case unless you're really promoting like a specific webinar or something like that. With this, we're getting really high click through rates because it's just developing that conversation, that communication with our community. So we just built one for a client this morning. It's so cool.
Love that. And I totally agree with you. If it's a true news letter, it should have a lot of different elements and it can absolutely have lots of different links. And I love combining the social media with the newsletter. I've been doing that more and more. I do typically a weekly poll on LinkedIn, and I'll include a snapshot of the poll results as of Sunday morning and a link to go vote to my subscribers
So
so they
that
can
is
click on
like
the poll.
built
And
into our email system. I love that so much.
love
We
it.
do it on Facebook with what we call them ladder posts, which is where you want people to comment below with a access to
Mhm.
something or an opinion about something. It has such an amazing effect on the engagement, and it really actually we find, and I don't know if you find this, but we find it helps kickstart the algorithm where some people are like, "Oh, you don't want to send it from another source because the social platform will know that you're driving traffic to it." But for us, it's been really, really awesome.
Okay, newsflash. No social platform is going to say, "Don't send us traffic." They're never gonna say that. They're
They
gonna say
think you're,
the
like, gaming the
opposite.
system or something, but you're right. What do they want? Do you know what all these social media platforms want?
They want your people to sing on the platform. They want them to come there. They want those ad dollars and those eyeballs, so they don't
They
care.
and it comes down to one thing. They all wanna be TikTok.
TikTok wannabes. Not today, as this recording, TikTok was just sued by the United States government, so they don't wanna be TikTok
Oh,
right now. Oh,
today that
yeah,
happened?
big news. Today that happened, yes. Today, TikTok was sued by the
Interesting.
US government for not protecting minors, allowing minors to sign up
Wow.
and spend time there. So there's a little bit of breaking news for you folks. It happens. I've been doing social media stuff for over a decade, so I always have my ear to the ground for those kinds of things. But yeah, absolutely include some social links in your newsletter. I love that back and forth. That's terrific and such a great idea. And I got to be honest, I did not know about stacking GPTs,
You
so I
didn't?
learned
No,
something.
no.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I
You are
love
gonna
it.
freak
That's
out
amazing.
when you try it, and if you're like, "Wait, I don't." Can I actually just show it really quick on here too, just to show you exactly, like,
Please.
what it okay. We were working on writing actions behind our GPTs, which is like a we
Yeah.
won't even get into today. But when you're down here, so I'm in the super prompt right now. When I type the @ symbol, the GPTs that I've used in the past, oh, it did work even better than I thought. The GPTs that I've used in the past will pop up on the screen. So I can select this AI ideal client avatar, and I can now be speaking to, see how it says message the ideal client avatar down here?
Yeah.
And so that will run the framework that I have inside the ideal client avatar GPT. And then I can run the tree of beliefs, and then I can run the super prompt. So if I'm like, watch, please create an avatar. It's gonna hopefully ask me for more information. Yeah, so I've trained it to know it can't actually write an avatar for me unless I give it my information, and then this is like a whole nother level of a tip to show you. We have this document that we teach our clients to have, which has all of your company information, your product details, your ideal client summary, brand voice, all of this stuff in one document. So I can just grab this basic information, then I go back into ChatGPT, I give it this basic information, watch what's gonna happen. It's now gonna run our ideal client avatar framework, right? So it's gonna give me all this information. I'm gonna let it finish, have a little patience with my AI friend.
Right.
Notice it has like struggles and pain points. It has tickle points, which I think is really funny. All these different things. And then when it's done with this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click the little X. If you're listening, go to Spotify to watch the video. It's going to click the little X on the right. And now I'm going to call in my tree of beliefs. So I'm going to type that at symbol. I'm going to type tree. It's going to pull in the tree of beliefs. And now I'm going to say, please create a tree of beliefs to get someone or to get that avatar to buy, and then I'm gonna copy my company information about the content club, for example. I'm gonna go grab my content club information, and I don't have to be this detailed, but as we talked about at the very beginning, if you give it the right details, it'll give you better stuff. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna paste the information about the content club. And then it's gonna give me a table. All I had to do was say, "Give me a tree
Wow.
of beliefs." It gives me a whole table of all these beliefs. And now since I'm in the super prompt GPT, once it's done with that, then I'm just gonna click that little X again, and it's giving me all these different things. I'm gonna click that little X again, and now I'm gonna say, "Amazing, please run the super prompt." And it's gonna write that one I mentioned earlier, where it's now bringing in all of this content for weeks and weeks of content, that it's writing it all here for me.
Stunning.
Bananas, right?
Absolute bananas. That's going to be our emoji for the day.
Perfect. That's my favorite. I even have a disco ball banana if you want me to call it in. My future note. So good.
I know you and Kelly Noble Mirabella. That's your
I
favorite
know.
term.
It is. I even have a crocheted banana also.
Oh my gosh.
There we are.
So you've got companies who are using these kinds of tools, teams are using these kinds of tools. That means we need to train them, right? And I wanted you to share, if you could, any best practices when it comes to training teams to use AI effectively, particularly when it comes to content creation.
Yeah. So what I like to do is I really love, even if you have custom GPTs like this for your team, sometimes when you give people, especially if you're like me and you are a crazy quick start, we see the end result already. And so we can start at the beginning and just go through all of it. But I love to start by showing them what is it supposed to look like at the end, right?
Hmm.
Like, where are we actually headed? And then, since the recording of this is being recorded during the Olympics, I will say it's like we want to make sure we map out where that Olympic torch is being handed off. So, the copy is just one piece of it. But then what needs to happen are we batch creating images inside Canva, and who on the team is going to be holding that? We ask the question that I learned from Brene Brown, which is, what does done look like? Because sometimes we'll create all of this stuff, but clients don't even know it's been created or it hasn't ended up in the right place to be posted. So look at the full, like, what result are we trying to achieve? And then as we work towards that result, make sure that we have those moments where we're going to be handing things off. Also, we have a framework that we use that's called the voice prompt method that ensures when we are using ChatGPT or Magi or whatever it is that we're using, that we're giving it all the proper information. And if you're getting content that doesn't seem like it's as awesome as you would like, oftentimes you need to go back to our this voice framework that we have, which I can share if we have time. But we check off the things on that framework to see where did I maybe miss something where I could have helped my AI assistant to do a better job.
Love it. Yeah, we've got a few minutes. Share it
Yeah.
to the voice framework.
Okay. So it's the V. You'll never guess what the V is for. It's for voice. So you want to make sure bananas again. You want to make sure that
The
you
voice of the
tell it,
brand, your voice.
yeah, the voice of your brand. So what character is it portraying? What is the voice of the
Mhm.
brand? And we have a whole system for coming up with your brand voice, but you want to be really clear about that. Then the O is for the objective. So what is the point of this? Sometimes we go into ChatGPT and we tell it to do something and it's like being weird because it doesn't actually know the goal. So tell the AI assistant the goal that you have in mind. Then the I is for the insights. And insights are things like the company details that I just shared. Like, what are the the things that are happening internally with the customer, this or with the client or whatever it is, the company, the organization, the birthday party. It doesn't have to be only about business, right? Give us some insights about what's happening behind the scene. It can be ideal client information. All that goes there. Then we are now at C, and the C is for composition. So, like you mentioned earlier, to write a blog post, but maybe your blog post is written a little differently than some other people's blog posts. So, explain like I want an intro and 3 paragraphs and an outro. For the newsletter, it's like an intro and then these topics and then detailed information underneath each of these topics. The composition of that matters. The table, I love using tables with AI. That matters. So, what's the composition? And then the final E is for an example. So give it actual
Mm.
examples of what you would like. And this is not only a tip for AI. We had an amazing client today that said, "Oh, the new they you we wrote a long newsletter email for them and she said that it's a little long. Instead of giving all that information, can we just do the title and a photo and they can click on the photo to go learn more?" Or she said a title, a few sentences, and a photo. That's what she said. And I wrote back and I said, "Can you give me an example of what you'd love to see, like for one of those pieces? So we're not going back and forth trying to decipher what that's going to look like in their mind. They give us that example and then we can emulate that going forward."
Love it. Great advice, as you say, not just for the AI, but for each other, for our teams. I love how really, for the NLP geeks that are listening, we're talking about how we're going to train and communicate with people in a business. And unless you've tested them all and you know that they're all kinesthetic digital learners, you can't just approach with, here's what we're going to do. You need to tell them why. You need to talk about, what that end result is going to be. What does done look like? I love that. I'm going to steal that phrase, and then walk them through it so that they're with you from the beginning. Not all of us learn the same way. Not all of us communicate the same way. So that's important to keep those things in mind. Molly, this has been absolutely stunning. What a fantastic interview. I could go on for hours, but we can't. So for folks who want to learn more from you, where can they go? Where can they connect?
Hey, yeah, I am super stoked to be able to tell you that we have put together something so like mind-blowingly amazing, which is I'm just saying I'm gonna give this to you. I don't know how many other people I'm gonna give this to, but we are putting together a $1 activation fee. So it's basically free for a 14-day trial of our content club. So all of those stacking GPTs that I showed you, the newsletter GPT, all of that, we do a monthly training and you can go there by going to, are you ready? Molly.live/Mike. And that's going to take you straight to the link for Mike Allton, obviously. So Molly.live/Mike. You'll be able to check out the content club. And then if you're like, "Oh, I can't get into all that. I just want to kind of play around, see what other fun Molly's having." I am the prepared performer on most platforms, or just hang out on Facebook as Molly Mahoney. That's like my favorite place to hang out.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Molly. Thank you for all of you listening. We will have the links in the show notes. Like I said, the whole video is on Spotify. I'll try to put some clips in the blog post, make it super easy for you to follow along. That's all we've got for today, friends. But don't forget to follow the AI Marketing Unpacked podcast on Apple and leave us a review. That's the only platform you can leave us a review. And I'd love to know what you think. Until next time, welcome to the grid. Thanks for joining us on AI and Marketing Unpacked. I hope today's episode has inspired you and given you actionable insights to integrate AI into your marketing strategies. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and consider leaving a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts and answer any questions you might have. Don't forget to join us next time as we continue to simplify AI and help you make a real impact in your marketing efforts. Until then, keep innovating and see just how far AI can take your market. Thank you for listening and have a fantastic day.